maybe not going to be there for a little bit, right? And have to have more practice time.
Yeah, for me, I just find the topic very daunting to think about. It just sounds like a lot of hard work. So I'll just read out some of the answers. So the reason that this idea came up is that we're going to have a chat with Lynn Schiffman later on. Yeah, Lynn is organizing a competition in Dortmund. You might have heard about that, Art in Pieces. It's in late January and there's still spaces available. If you're anywhere near Dortmund, so in Germany or Belgium or the Netherlands, and you're looking for a competition that's happening in person, solo, pairs and teams. We'll find out a bit more about that later, but also Lynn wanted to talk about a puzzle league, and I'll just read out her answer just so that people have an idea of what she's thinking about. I was thinking about a national league, at least for Germany. It would be possible with the amount of people interested in speed puzzling. However, it would also be nice to have a first and second, and maybe even a third league with possibilities to move up or down to another league. Would also be really nice if the leagues would consist of online and offline competitions and to have a big offline finale. So
yeah, that would be interesting. The online competitions are really great because it really widens the availability of who all can play, right? Because times can be whatever, you can do it from your home, that kind of thing. The snag is that there's always maybe somebody had slightly different lighting, or in their time zone they're not jet lagged, that kind of those kinds of things. So there's always trade-offs, right? There's trade-offs in the puzzling, and then there's trade-offs in how you want to group things together. So it's a fun way to look at it.
Yeah. All right. Well, we'll have a chance to discuss it a bit more later in the piece. But yeah, it's now the time to unwrap your puzzles. So please go ahead, take off that lovely flowery wrapping paper.
What's it gonna be? Oh, I'm trying to get a good look. What is it?
Yeah, so go ahead and remove the plastic as well. There is a poster. Feel free to take the poster because the image is cropped
Ooh.
on the box. So it's not a portrait image, it's a landscape image. So make sure you get that poster out as well. You can already pop that into your box holder or use your magnets or your clips. If you have thought about how you would deal with a poster in a competition, you should have a plan or just put it on your table. Yeah, so this one is a smaller group today. We have about 45 people participating. This was the only competition that did not sell out. So I hear the message loud and clear, you don't like larger pieces, which is a shame because there are some really lovely puzzles out there with larger pieces, and some brands only have 500 pieces in 500-piece puzzles with larger pieces. So it's cutting down the selection. All right, everyone has taken the poster out, has the box back in the middle of the table. All right, let's do a countdown in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, go.
And they are off. Good luck to everybody. And this, you were mentioning, Michelle, that speed puzzlers often gravitate away from big piece sizes. And I think part of that is because they're just a little bit larger and a little more unwieldy. Well, let's take a look at the image that we're playing with.
Yeah, so this is from the brand Calypto. So you might recognize the box from Provence, Italy, California. Feel like there's another one we've done recently. I think we've done 3, and I did one in another competition. This is the image. It's called Medina Lafez. So like Moroccan leather bowls, perhaps, a saddle, different types of, or maybe they're beanbag cushions, something like that. And then this really gnarly mosaic in the background. Yeah, but I think puzzles with larger pieces are more common in the US because a lot of random puzzles, the random cut puzzles have large pieces, right?
Yeah, there's several brands that have slightly larger pieces on the random, like you were saying. Like Cobble Hill is one. White Mountain can fall into that category as well. But it's a thing where because they're slightly bigger, whenever you're doing the flip, the pieces can kind of overlap on top of themselves a little bit, and you can end up unflipping things that you just flipped. Um, and so that can be a little awkward. It's also a little more difficult to see where one part of the piece ends and another begins because you have more of the image on each piece. And so it kind of scatters your brain a little, just a little bit. So it's not unusual for big piece sizes to take, on average, just a little bit longer than their smaller sized counterparts.
Mm. Yeah, so since we have a smaller group today, I'm going to put 4 people up on the screen. I'll see how this goes. Yeah, so we'll start at the top of the alphabet. We have Aaron from United Kingdom, Alexandra, wait, Alexandra from Switzerland, Amandine from France, and Annalise B from Belgium.
Yeah, and look at how well they're doing already. We're coming up on the 2 minute and 30-second line, and in some of the like real fast competitions, some puzzlers would be finishing up their flip around now. With these larger piece sizes, it's going to take just a little bit longer for even those faster folks. So it's not a surprise to see this happening. I really do like seeing Alexandra's um, setup here, where she's using that rainbow table set. So a lot of the pieces are starting to unfold away from that center pile. You can see Aaron in the upper left-hand corner there, jumping around, getting those last couple of pieces unflipped. And it looks like he's doing a little bit of a sort there, where some things are going off to the right-hand side that he's going to be able to target in on. I wonder if those are the darker browns or purples that are some of those bags in there, which would be pretty neat to see. And in the lower right, Annalise doing a fantastic job here. You can see that she has pulled over to the left-hand side a lot of those yellows. I think that bright yellow is going to be a really good pull. That bag that's in the lower middle of the image, because that is the most standout yellow. There's only little bits of green in it, and it's a nice anchor to get yourself squared away on.
Yeah, so we have some interesting setups today. It looks like someone doesn't have floor space. Maybe they are at a hotel. They're actually at least sorting the pieces on the bed. We have somebody puzzling on the floor, and we have someone puzzling at an airport. So we'll see. We send everyone our best wishes to make the best of your conditions right now. We hope you get there. So also with us, we have Birgit from Austria. That's Birgit K from Austria, and then Birgit W from Germany, Catherine from United States, and Charlene from Switzerland. So Charlene has the red table there. Hope she doesn't get too much glare. It looks like she has a light directly above her table, and that the table might be a bit reflective.
Yeah, just a little bit. It might also be at an angle where it's reflective to us, but not to her, which would kind of be the best case scenario. And in general, just a tip for puzzlers and folks watching. One of the best ways to light your table is, rather than having a light aimed directly at it, if you aim your lights kind of up at the ceiling or up at the wall, so that way it bounces off, you get a little bit more of a diffuse light, and you're going to lower the glare on there. But it seems like Charlene's doing a really great job, has the flip done, and is now hammering in on that green bag. Catherine L in your lower left hand corner there, doing a pretty hefty sort while finishing up the flip. Um, Using a couple of different trays there, but I think that she's really making an effort to group those greens and yellows in different spots, so that way she can zipper through those pretty quickly. Birgit K in your upper left hand corner, going for that all pieces above sort of table set, and it looks like there's some small groups over on the left hand side that are getting sorted out as well. And Birgit W using it, I think there's 4 different trays going right now. to try to organize all these pieces and being very methodical upfront on what this sort is going to look like for that.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, BRW, she's amazing at sorting. She's amazing at using trays. So I think actually a large puzzle really plays to her strengths, whereas other people might get yeah, easily overwhelmed. She's always got the same plan. She has a really good routine when it comes to yeah, when the pieces come out of the box, she knows what she's got to do.
Yeah, having a default system so that way you're not really surprised is a great way to is a great way to make sure that you still make progress even when you're unsure of what to do next.
Yeah, so on screen right now we have Daniel from South Africa, but I do know that he lives in Germany. I have met him. He came to Trier. And then we have Amelia, who says, "I will start puzzling when I'm done with another meeting." Okay. Actually, Amelia won one of the competitions with large pieces. So that was very interesting. So previously we used the brand three times before. We've had larger pieces with Euro graphics. And this is the first time we're using another brand. Okay, so maybe people just didn't like Euro graphics. But that had yeah. So I don't know. People have to tell me in the chat. Why did not many people buy this competition? Or is it because it started half an hour later? Yes, anyway, maybe Amelia will come in and show us how it's done. Then we have
I think Amelia's just giving everyone else a head start. That's probably the case.
yeah.
Because she is a fantastic puzzler and really knows her way around these big piece sizes. But they are doing a really good job here. Franny in your upper right hand corner there has pulled all of the edges and is starting to work on those right away. I like this tactic of placing the pieces about where they're going to go as you're building the edge, because that helps frame everything out a little bit more and gives you it reduces the number of touches that you have to make each time. And you can see Freya in your bottom in the bottom screen there doing a very similar tactic here of building pieces and already sliding them about where they're going to go. Doesn't need to be perfect, but the more accurate it is, the more it saves your time down the line.
Yes,
And
it
even
was
on, oh, sorry, I was just going to say, even on these big piece sizes, whenever it's a 500 piece puzzle, you're going to have about 86 pieces around that outside. So really making great progress here as we cross the 8 minute and 30-second line, coming into this EJJ with big pieces.
yeah, so Fanny was from Hungary and Freya from Sweden. And I like Fanny's little mascot called Mr. Mookie. So just giving him a little extra spot in the spotlight. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Spot a little bit more time in the sun. Okay, so we are now with Heike from Germany and Helen from the United Kingdom, Eva from Latvia, and Ilona from Germany. Yeah, when I did this puzzle, I did use trays. I tried to keep the same space that I normally puzzle and the same board, the same size board that I use for a 500 piece puzzle, but I did have some trays stacked up. Yeah, so something about larger puzzles is that if you do the border straight away, if you don't have much space, you end up pushing everything to the sides or having a lot of pieces in the middle of the image. So for those who have more of a constrained area, I expect to see them maybe leave the border for later, perhaps sort them out already, but just perhaps put them off to the side. Or people who have some massive dining tables, we might see them go straight away for the edge right up front.
Yeah, no, space is a huge thing, and I think this is kind of interesting. You know, so we were talking a little bit ago about online versus in-person competitions, that kind of thing. The table setup that you have really helps dictate how much space you want to or need to use in a lot of cases. We can see Iona in the bottom screen here did a pretty hefty sort up front, has a lot of the oranges grouped together and is now flying through that yellow bag that's in the lower middle, getting that all together. You can see Leva in the upper right hand corner has a decent chunk of the border already done, but also did that bag already. I think she's doing this upside down at the moment, or at least built the bag part upside down, is then going to have to come around. I wonder if part of the tactic here is that because she has such a large table, she can use the oval side of it to kind of maneuver around from end to end, and all the pieces are sitting there. But I'm fascinated by the sort that's been done in there. You'd see Helen in the upper left-hand corner has a decent chunk of that border done. There's been some sorting, and I think a lot of these bags are going to come together pretty quickly. And then in the far left side is Herber, and you can see using those different sorting trays to their advantage. I'm really curious. A thing that happens with a lot of puzzlers, especially whenever there's this really dense pattern work that happens in a background, there's a reflex to just leave all of that pattern out to the side whenever they're sorting, rather than trying to group even those small details. Because if you look at that background, there's this big purple arc and solid purple lines in between the patterns. And if you can pull even those out of that chaos, that can really help start thinning the pile out or lowering the noise a little, and give you some anchors to play with as you go into that section.
Yeah, so some of the reasons why people are not participating in today's competition, because it's half an hour later, it's also for a bit too late in Finland. So we do have different time zones. So it's more suited to the British or the Portuguese, who are 1 hour behind us, but the Finnish are already 1 hour ahead. So it's just a bit of a late start, and then adding on the 2 hours. Kinsey, yeah, would do it, but it's her lunch break at the moment, so her lunch break at the office, so that doesn't work. Some people don't, Liga doesn't like extra large pieces. Yeah, Abby sometimes uses larger piece size puzzles for pairs competitions at her cafe. Yeah, so different reasons. Okay, so let's see who else is with us. We're at 13 minutes. Seeing some nice colorful chunks coming together at this point. Yeah, so we have Inga from the Netherlands, Jessica from Germany. So Jessica has been doing really well recently. She made the podium 4 times in the 50 Plus Club, and yes, is on her way out. She's on her way into the sub 50, so she's been doing really well. Then we have Johanna from Germany, who's puzzling on her knees. This is not the first time she's done this. She's done this a couple of times before in the flex competitions. So I have seen her puzzle, and somehow she still gets there in a really good time. Yeah, so just something that she's used to. It doesn't suit all of us, but some people, it's their preferred space. And then we have Julie from France.
And you could see Inga. One of the things that I just adore about Inga's puzzling is that she is so good at color work. So I'm not surprised at all that she's really targeting a lot of those bags and boxes that are in the bottom part of the puzzle, and sort of branching out from those greens and blues and jumping around a little bit, rather than doing a pure sunburst, because there's not a lot of gradient in here, so you have to be flexible in that. Jessica W. In the upper right hand corner there, you can see that she has the outline of the top part of the border, and that's what I was talking about earlier, about getting a section of that repeating pattern that's just a little different. You can see that she's pulled out this lighter blue kind of shading that's in the middle of part of the background there, and is just going to town on it, and has a really solid anchor. And hopefully she can keep that momentum going. Joanna, whenever you have to choose between protecting your back or protecting your knees, a lot of us protect our knees and then just kind of hurt our backs. But Joanna is going full in on sitting on her knees, has a full border just about done as we cross the 15-minute and 30-second line, and is getting some of those bags in. I think the maneuverability is a little bit of a factor here, but if she's really, really precise on getting those groupings, she's going to have no problem at all. And you can see in the lower right-hand corner, that's Julie P. Has almost the full border done, and you can see those pieces on that table take up a lot of space, and it's a full rainbow around that frame right now. And I think it's really interesting. Whenever you have this larger piece size, it forces you, like you were saying, Michelle, to make these decisions about how much space do I want to use and where do I put things. There's a lot of puzzlers that might usually put all the pieces above or to one side, and with this size, they might have to do a little bit more of a rainbow or a deeper 7.
Yeah, so we can see, yeah, it was very interesting that Jessica was going for the patterned, yeah, what would you call it, mosaic tile background. Yeah, as you say, there's these dark purple trims. Some of them are in lines, and then there's one that's like this big circle archway. And then in terms of the patterns, you have some that are a bit more flower shaped with like a orange flower in the center. So there are different patterns that you can also differentiate. So they are all the same colors. It's all blue, green, purple, and orange, but within that, they do have different patterns, yeah, textures. So on screen right now, we have Justina from Poland, Karel from the Netherlands, Katie from the United Kingdom, and Kim from the Netherlands. And you can see that big yellow block that's very obvious on Kim's screen with on her board. I think it's a saddle. It's kind of bizarre. It's yellow and it has like these red things sticking up, and it's made of leather.
Oh, it is a saddle, yeah. I didn't catch that at first glance. And, a lot of puzzlers don't always recognize what it is they're building as they build it. They just know these things go together. I think Kim's tactic here of building a chunk and keeping it on the puzzle, on the sorting tray, helps save some space, which is a really good trick whenever you don't have a lot of room, is make the project and then keep it away from everything else so you still have room. But she is going to town on a lot of those other bags that are sitting there right on the left-hand side, the more colorful ones, rather than the sort of cascade of oranges that extend over on the right-hand side. You can see Justina has almost that whole left-hand side of the bag piles done, and a
I
lot of
think
other
they're
pieces sorted
bowls.
out.
I
Oh,
think they're
bowl.
bowls. Yeah, they're all
Oh,
kind of this shape.
okay. They look sort of like floppy bags. So I guess a
Oh,
leather bowl of sorts would make sense. Yeah.
actually, they kind of remind me of these puff cushions. We used to have one.
Oh
It
yeah.
looks like they're empty ones, just without the beanbag inside it,
Mhm.
without the filling. So yeah, they're okay. They could be hats or bowls or cushions. Yes.
I will say I really like if you look at Justine's hands, I really like how she's keeping her wrists mostly down and is using just her fingertips to go through. There can be a reflex to do a lot of like hands palm up, palm down, rotating, uh, and that can eat into your time a little bit. So having that like light piano fan like touch is really cool. Carol in the upper right hand corner there has a lot of those little chunks done and is doing those island building. And over in the lower left hand side, Katie is also using that similar tactic. I want to point out a quick note somebody had in the chat from Thomas Oak saying that he has 2 pairs of puzzling trousers with worn out knees, specifically for doing large count puzzles on the floor.
It's cool.
Um, are the holes are the worn out knees, do you replace them with like knee pads, or do you just let them wear away? I'm curious.
Lydia Getty, unfortunately your camera is off. Lydia Getty, could you please check that? Otherwise we have on screen Kinga from Poland. Oh yeah, thanks Lydia, it's working now. Kinga from Poland, Lena from Germany, Also doing some interesting poses on the floor. Okay, so she did her sorting on the bed and now is yeah, going to assemble on the floor. We have Lydia from Italy and Lynn from Germany. And Sandra just sent me a message saying she's fangirling right now because Lynn Schiffman, because Sandra has a puzzle of Lynn's artwork. So Lynn is an artist and has produced puzzles using original artworks, and one of them had a lot of cats on it, golden cats, and so I think that's the one that Sandra ordered. And I've also done a couple. Yeah, so all the puzzles at Art and Pieces in Dortmund will be original artworks from Lynn, which is amazing.
Look at the progress that Kinga in the upper left hand corner here has made. Has almost has 3/4 of the border built out. That entire left hand side of those bowls slash bags, whatever they are. That colorful splotches on the left are all done. That saddle in the bottom is squared away. And so now she's just working on the remaining bits of that orange, and is this going to start moving on to the mosaic here before too long. I think that sorting tray has a lot of pieces that aren't necessarily flipped on it, and you have to wonder if that's one of those things where it's a space management. But I see another board over there to the side that has a lot more orange on it as well. I like in the upper right hand corner, Lena, using sitting down. Whatever is best for your back is always best. Safety first. But she's making great progress. Has that full border already built out, and Lydia moving around, using that entire table, going from side to side, jumping from edge to edge here to get some pieces in. You can see that she's done that whole left-hand side pretty rapidly, and has extra pieces sorted out from one end to the other. Lynn Schiffman in the lower left-hand corner, getting the almost has the full border complete here from what we can tell, but has that left-hand side of bowls finished up. And now we're starting to reach that point of just whenever you have the full border, you have to reach a little bit further to get to those pieces that you want. You have to work a little bit harder to grab those other things. So I'm going to be really curious to see how she gets on here before too long. Lynn in the bottom middle has the whole left-hand side just about done. There's one missing piece in there, but she's going to be able to find that before too long. And you can see how far away these pieces stretch out on towards the edge with this table. It's really, really fascinating to see.
Yes. Yeah, so we're at 22 minutes. So I was just chatting with my virtual assistants. So shout out to Sandra and Rico who are in the background and watching everybody. Just checking, is anyone going to finish sub 30? Do I need to quickly scrap the alphabet and jump around? But I think we're safe for the moment. Yeah, so we're halfway through the alphabet, and with us we also have Lynn from Belgium, so Lynn E from Belgium, Lynn T from United Kingdom, Magdalene from Austria, and Maya JT from Slovenia.
Yeah, there's a couple of people in the chat mentioning that the haptics of the large piece sizes are strange to them. I still say, if you have access to a large piece size, do it, because you'll find out real quick how often you overload your hand with pieces and end up with a lot of things that you end up just picking up and putting right back down. So whenever you do a large piece size, you almost have to be more targeted, more specific before you pick things up, rather than being a little more haphazard. And large piece sizes are a great way to get comfortable with that. You can see Lynn in the upper left-hand corner has a big chunk of one of the orange bags built out there, and a lot of that yellow just going to town right there. Sandra's shouting out that Lynn's her partner for the New Year puzzle exchange. So keep on going strong. Magdalene, for a moment, I thought she was puzzling from New Zealand because the camera was a different brand of sideways, from the upside down. But you can see that she has almost that full border built out. I think we're going to see that tactic from a lot of our puzzlers flying through here. Maya in the lower right-hand corner here has done a ton of work, almost has the full bottom with all of those bags and bowls built out. That upper border is there, and you can see she's made some anchors inside of that pattern area as well. Or sorry. It's a little more. It's a little more of the bags. They were just placed kind of awkwardly. But she's going to be able to fly through the rest of this half, and then move on to those mosaics before too long.
Yeah, so I'm quite excited to see Maria TV. So Maria is traveling and she's actually at the airport. So you can see she's got a decent sized table. So that looks pretty good. But there are these funny blocks. Oh no, they're the yeah, there's these boards where you can plug in your sockets, whatever you call them, plugs. So that's going to narrow her space. It looks like
Oh yeah,
it looks
she
like they're
might.
attached to the table. She can't move
Yeah,
them.
she might have a height issue here. She might have to build both halves of the puzzle and then just throw them onto the floor and tag them together real quick. It's gonna be exciting to see how she gets on with that. But doing a puzzle, surrounded by a lot of people that aren't familiar with puzzling, has got to be a fascinating experience, because I'm sure people are walking by right now, sort of gawking, trying to figure out what's going on. Why is this person doing a puzzle at an airport? But it's fun to see Maria go full Alejandro or full Kati, and puzzling in places that you wouldn't normally do the thing.
Yeah, so so Maria TV, she's from Sweden. So I wonder where she's traveling to today. But yeah, good on her for giving it a go. It is interesting. I mean, I puzzled on my way to Valladolid. I was at the Luxembourg airport doing a puzzle, and yeah, people, when I packed away my puzzle, then some people started chatting to me, and we had an interesting conversation about competitions. And yeah, so I'm sure people wondering what's going on, but good on her. We also have Mandy from United States, Melly from Switzerland, and Menica from the Netherlands.
Yeah, Mandy's doing a solid job here. You can see a lot of that border starting to come together. These circle tables can be very hit or miss for a lot of puzzlers. I think with this big piece size, it can be a little bit of an advantage, because you have a little more room to do that spread above where you're going to end up building. But it does make the corners a little iffy and can hang over. And I know that that can stress some puzzlers out, but Mandy's doing a really great job here. And I like how she stands up to find pieces and then sits back down to move on, rather than really hurling yourself over to try to find things. Whatever's easiest for your body is great, but usually if you can stand up to grab the pieces, that's going to help you out in the long run. You can see in the lower left hand corner, that's Melly, has that full border built out, and it looks like she's done a pretty decent sized pull of pieces into the middle of the build field. um, it looks like she's also doing a pretty specified sort. Each of those little clusters of pieces is pretty tight. So if that's a really well done sort out, she's going to be able to zipper through those rapidly and make up some extra time, which is fantastic. And Miniki in the lower right hand corner has that whole left hand side of colored pattern worked out very, very well. And a lot of that bottom border, you can see that she's also isolated that chunk of the background, of that background mosaic that has just the big orange circle in it that branches out a little bit. I think that's a really cool tactic. And this is one of those things where if you have really good eye acuity, you can see little chunks inside the mosaic to grab onto. So I think grabbing those sets of like the orange circles that are surrounded by the blue dots, as opposed to getting lost in the sauce and going all oranges, all greens, all blues, if you can recognize that little bit of pattern of going, oh, the deepest orange with a little bit of purple or blue, that's going to give you a good foothold to keep grabbing and moving on from.
Yeah, so coming up to 30 minutes, so a bit more relaxed tonight. There's no not being surprised by some ninja puzzler coming in at sub 30. Yes, and we have moving on. We have Nina from Slovenia. Oh, we have a lot of Slovenians recently, and they're getting faster. Before we would have like maybe once every 2 months, one participant from Slovenia, and in the last few competitions we've had like 2, 3, or 4. So I think SpeedPuzzle is really taking off there. And one of them in particular, Maya, did really well in the 50 plus competition. I was on the podium twice, and also Moisture as well. So great things happening in Slovenia. We also have Orla from Ireland, Rachel from United Kingdom, and Robert from Sweden.
Yeah, Nina's doing a great job in your upper left-hand corner there. You can see that it looks like she also has that limited height space on the table. So a lot of the pieces are over on the left-hand side that she's going to have to kind of sweep back and forth for. But whenever you have this small chunk of things that are very similar, as long as you're able to access the pile and be really targeted, you're going to be in a good spot. Orla in the upper right hand corner with that green table, with that green coloring on the table there. That's an interesting color to see. I don't think it's gonna bog her down too much because most of the pieces are like that orange or blue background. There's not a lot of straight green that'll get lost in there. Sort of like whenever a weather reporter uses the same color dress or suit as what the background screen is. You want to try to avoid situations where the colors can get lost. And I think Orla's going to be in a good position here as that full border, that left-hand side, is now trying to dig into those pinks and oranges. Rachel Chambers in the lower left-hand side, in the lower left-hand corner, one of the fastest puzzlers in the world right now. You'd see why. She has almost the whole bottom half of this puzzle built out, a lot of that upper border squared away, and is now trying to do the outline of the mosaic along those bags and bowls in order to give a little bit more of a foothold in there. But Robert Atkinson, not too far behind her here, as he has most of that bottom portion of the puzzle done, and a lot of things are already sorted. So he's going to be able to get the rest of those orange bags in here pretty quickly, and try to keep pace with Rachel. Here. Victor's asking, why are Rachel's colors different from the poster? I I don't think they're that different. I think it's mostly camera and lighting, but we can do a double check once she's done and take a look. Yeah, it's cropped a little bit. That's the bigger thing.
Yeah, and do you notice Robert has just stuck his poster onto the wall in front of him, which is also such a simple and yet genius idea. If you're puzzling in front of a wall, stick your poster onto the wall. Have some blue tack or whatever that tacky stuff is that you can just attach it. There's always innovative puzzling ideas. Okay, we've reached the end of the alphabet. Let's just add the last participant. We've got Romina from Switzerland, Sammy from United States, Tammy from United States, Wendy from United States, Yasmin from Austria, and Zana from Latvia.
Oh wow! And you'd
Oh,
see. Oh, go ahead.
sorry, look at Wendy. She's using like a tablet holder for her poster. That's also a really good idea. That's perfect.
Yeah, we're starting to see more and more unique solutions for like I think a lot of the box top holder solutions have been solved at this point, and it's a matter of what you lean towards, what's your favorite. But for posters, there's a whole variety of things that are still getting solved out. You can see Sammy Brownlow in the middle top of your screen there. Sammy just used a box top holder and tilted it up. And even though you can't see the bottom part of that poster, she already has most of that done and can now move on to the rest of the image that's in there. She has a small little pocket of pinks and oranges left on the left-hand side, but she is flying right now and is up in contention with some of the other leaders to finish this out in a really good position. You can see Romania in the upper left-hand corner is a little backlit, and that lighting may play into effect going forward, but she has that whole left-hand side done, and I really like the sorting that's been made here in order to keep her moving very, very quickly. Tammy McLeod, one of the Guinness World Record holder in puzzling, in your upper right-hand corner from the U.S. She is finishing up those oranges. You can see her hands moving rapidly, knowing that she can now shift a little bit more into shape work in order to get some of these pieces in, rather than rely solely on what the image is. Every time you can get an extra bit of information, it helps you move things through. What can be a little tricky is that those oranges are split on both the right and left side. So if it's a case where those are split specifically because it's very, very clear and she can just sink those in, that's going to help her move forward. But you can see that little burst of energy. She's now doing another pull inside the mosaic to keep trucking right there. Tammy's doing a fantastic job. Wendy in the lower left-hand side, like we were saying, that poster is up on a little tablet pen, but she's also boxed out on the table what normal regulation puzzle size is. And this is where that large piece size is really coming into play. And you can see that she's having to be really, really precise with what pieces she picks up and then puts into place. Yasmin in the lower middle here has that full border worked out, and you can see some of those pieces are it's not overhanging the edge of the room, because she has one very large I'm not going to say sorting tray, but it's a puzzle mat of sorts that's covering a chunk of the table to keep everything on in there. And you can see that she's pulled the reds and those yellows onto the build field, and it's going to start working away on that. Really, really cool to see. Xana in the lower right-hand corner has the bottom border just about finished here and is working up on that yellow saddle, making some really excellent progress right now.
Yeah, and I love Tammy's speed. You can just see she's really accelerating, and she's just working with so much intention. Yeah, doing a fantastic job there. So let's close in now on those who could be in the running. We're going to jump ahead to Inga. Unfortunately, Emilia is still in her meeting. If I understand, yes, I understand. She's unfortunately still in her meeting. I hope that she at least gets some puzzling in during these 2 hours. Let's see, Inga. Rachel and Magdalene are also doing well. Robert.
Freya's doing excellent. Robert's doing excellent. This is going to be really tight.
Okay, so yeah, all those on screen now have pretty much done the lower half of the puzzle, and then we can see Inga and Rachel have done that full arc, and Freya has done this inner sunflower like piece. Okay, so it's really getting into those details of that, really of the texture. But looking really good here. Sammy, Tammy, Inga, Magdalene, Rachel, and Freya. And we'll see who else is in the running for the top 10.
Yeah, and you can see that Rachel and Inga, I was keeping an eye on them in the background. They both use that tactic of getting those darker purple outlines to do that arc, to put those hard lines in, and then filling the space in between, rather than trying to do the entire mosaic all at once. You know, every so often I say the best way to eat a whale is one bite at a time. Right? You have to take the smallest chunks that are clear to start digging through it, and they're doing a fantastic job here. Robert Atkinson trying to finish up that top border so that way he can sandwich the rest of this, the rest of everything in. Freya working a little bit from both sides, both the inside and the outside, finishing up that border, and that initial circle is inside of there. And this is one of those cases where if you have too many pieces in the field, does it block your box or does it make your life easier? The fastest way to get out of it is to build out. And Freya is a fantastic puzzler and might be able to make some progress in there, but it's a really tricky mosaic to try to finish up. Sammy doing an excellent job here as well. But taking another look, Jessica W. has the entire mosaic built out after the 38-minute line and is now working on the bottom half. I'm not sure she's going to be able to keep up with some of the other leaders, but it's really cool that she used that same tactic of outlining things, filling it in before moving on. Really, really cool. Carol in the lower right-hand corner, moving up towards the mosaics here. Really, really exciting to see how everybody's getting on at this stage.
Yeah, we have a lot of people who are about halfway through. You can see in the little thumbnails that there's several people who've done most of the colorful, cushiony things. And yeah, I really love how Jessica has done this top-down approach. It's just nice seeing the complete mosaic as it should be. Everybody has bits, suns and flowers and some of the walls and some of the darker bits, but we can see that's how it's supposed to be. So looking really fantastic there, Jessica. Hope, yeah, I hope you can just yeah, get those colorful parts done really quickly. But looking really good, everyone. We're at 39 minutes.
Is anybody going to be able to? I think we're going to be able to have a couple finishers keep this down under 50, but it's going to be tight. Rob just finished the upper border of that mosaic and is now trying to go through and lock in some anchor points. Inga is flying to finish up the rest of this mosaic. She has that full circle outline and is now maybe down to the last 30 pieces or so. Magdalena not too far behind. I can't quite see because of the angle, but I think she's at about 40 pieces. But Inga is so good at being able to use shape work once you're down into this last little bit. She is flying right now.
Yeah,
Absolutely phenomenal job.
yeah, and Alona has turned her puzzle upside down so that she can be closer to the mosaic section. Everybody else is reaching across the table to finish the top part, or some are standing. As you can see, Inga and Jessica are. But yeah, there's another option. If your table is large enough, you could spin it around, but then you'll be working upside down. But actually, it doesn't really matter because a mosaic is a pattern that goes in every direction. So sure, why not? Do it like that.
Yeah, at a certain point, it becomes a thing of whatever is the easiest access. Whenever it's really abstract, flipping it around upside down doesn't hurt you at all. I know some puzzlers really get hyper fixated on certain aspects, and if they rotate it, they stress themselves out. But these puzzlers are really flying right now. You can see Rachel Chambers finishing up the outside portions of that mosaic and now has that inner circle that's remaining. Inga mostly onto that inner circle at this point. Magdalena doing a really fantastic job. I think there's some of the outside border ends that are going to finish up here. And this is one of those cases where if you can tell those darker parts of the mosaic versus the brighter parts, you might have a good idea about which ones are on the outside versus the inside, or even those two straight lines, you can see the really bright portions of the mosaic to play around with. So you get the color, you get shape, you get the positioning. Anything you can do to get more pieces in is the way to go right now. And Inga is flying into the finish here. You can see Rachel not too far behind at this point, but I think this is going to be mostly Inga's to play around in. I'm trying to look around. Freya doing a really excellent job branching out from that center part of the mosaic here. Sammy Brownlow also coming into the close. You can see that she has the outline of that big arc to finish up, and then is then going to come in. But Inga is down to the last 2-3 pieces. Get that last one in. She hits the timer. She is smashing the timer multiple times.
Well done, Inga. 42 minutes, 23 seconds for a large piece puzzle. That's how it's done. Very nice.
Congratulations. Phenomenal job. Really well done. And that mosaic part is not easy to do, but Inga made it look that way by virtue of being the fantastic puzzler that she is. But now the hunt continues for who is going to be in our top 10, who's going to be the next couple of finishers that we have coming into the rest of this puzzle. Several of them trying to finish up the mosaic. I think Jessica W. Hitting a little bit of a wall, getting to that bottom part, playing catch up in the bottom half. But this is really flying here.
Yeah, we have several people all in the same position that they're getting stuck now into the mosaics, but all from different angles. You can see some of that inner flower, others are going for the archway, the outer ring. Others, like Freya, are working more on the textures on the sides and then working their way towards the middle. The patterns on the side are a bit more logical, I guess, because they're like squares on top of each other. It's not like this flowery pattern that goes around in a circle. So that's also when you see like these vertical lines, you can block those in. And Johanna on her knees is doing a fantastic job there. Yes, so that's what she's done as well. She's also done the outer, more squarish patterns and is now starting on the circle. But looking really good here. But Rachel on her final pieces. She's got the pieces on the puzzle, which kind of makes sense for a puzzle like this, which is so large. Just be a bit closer, filling in those gaps.
Oh, sorry, got dropped there for half a second, which is not whenever you want to lose track of people. But this is phenomenal. Rachel is down to the last handful of pieces here, uh, inside the middle. She hits it. There it is.
Yes.
Congratulations.
Woo! Second place. Fantastic, Rachel.
Fantastic job on a very difficult chunk of a puzzle. This one's not super straightforward, but all of those little cues and tricks start adding in over time. Trying to pull up some of our other folks here. Magdalene uh, has maybe about 50 or 60 pieces remaining. I think Magdalene and Sammy are running about even right now. You can see Johanna using that really cool tactic of keeping the pieces close to the puzzle, so that way she can maneuver them rather quickly. And I find it fascinating that she was able to do that straight line up from the bags all the way to the top, and then can do sort of a sandwich from either side in towards the middle there, which is really cool. Robert flying right now, doing an excellent job playing catch up after hitting in on that mosaic chunk. He is coming into maybe the last, I want to say 75 pieces or so. Made a really strong anchor of that orange circle in the center, and is now bouncing back and forth to finish up the outside parts of that mosaic that have a slightly different color in the background. And that's one of those things where if you have good color acuity, the shading can be a thing that's just enough of a tip off to tell you about where things are going to go. It's about limiting the number of potential places things can go to give you the highest chance of getting just a few more things in.
Yeah, for those who don't know, Robert organizes the Puzzle Rush competitions. He's based in Sweden, and that's a competition of about 20 or 30 people. I did a Puzzle Rush on Monday, so I'm very happy that he's organizing them, and he's just a very nice man. We have a lot of conversations as we are organizers, and yeah, it's really great what he's doing there. And
You are
yeah,
both from the same cloth.
yes. And we're actually very similar speeds, so often he's like just right behind me, or like other way around. So I think he's definitely gonna beat my time by a lot, because we're coming up to like 48 minutes, and I was done at 1 hour and 5, and I think he's gonna be done in a few minutes. So he's you said he's flying on this one. He's doing
Yeah.
amazing.
Look at Sammy Brownlow accelerating into the finish here. Similar thing to what Johanna did. She made that line going up from the bags all the way to the top through the center eye of that mosaic, and can now use the shape on both sides in order to finish it up here. This is really tricky puzzling throughout here, and I know that it's not Sammy's style to do this kind of repeating pattern, and it can be very stressful for some puzzlers to deal with that. But she's doing a great job right now, bouncing back and forth, trying to finish it up. You can see Robert trying to get those outside pieces in. He's trying to use the discernment of which are the darker background pieces to get those side panels locked in. And every so often, he's also picking up that purple outline of the arc and sinking it in as well. So he's simultaneously going from purple arc to those darker backgrounds to line them in. Really clever puzzling. Magdalena is trying to get those gaps filled in, has put all of the pieces above the puzzle, so that way she can just drag them down and put them about where they're going to go. Carol, doing a really solid job, has the full outline of both the arcs and almost both of those vertical bars in, and she's going to be able to move on to using mostly shape work. You can see that she has the upper part of those blue of that mosaic that has a little bit of a blue background, and finish that off. Johanna trying to get that left hand side of the puzzle done with that different color shading. Now that the vertical line that's all the same bright orange with the green center is locked in, trying to do that same thing over on the other side and get those locked down as well. Really fantastic puzzling. And Tammy McLeod in the lower right hand corner, making excellent progress here. You can see that she's also doing the simul, trying to get that little bit of an arc and also getting those more shaded pieces locked in at this stage.
Okay, so I want to let Magdalene and Sammy know they are running for third place. Robert really close behind, top 6. Go, go, go. Doing really well. So
It's gonna be so tight here coming into the end.
yeah,
You know,
we only have 2 finishes so far, but then we have another wave. We have several people all working on those mosaics, like Justina and Maya. JT are also doing fantastic. I'm going to go check in on Jessie again because she was the one who did hers the opposite direction. I wonder how her lower part of the puzzle is coming together.
oh yeah, this is gonna be really exciting to see how it comes in. I can't keep track of everybody, but we're certainly going to try to. We're going to see if we can get as many finishes as we can. The Sammy Brownlow is down to the last 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, maybe about 20 pieces here. I can't quite see Magdalena. It might be about the same. They are going piece for piece though. A lot of Sammys are all in that same central circle region. Magdalene has some of hers in that center. You can see she's accelerating. I think she's reached the point of zero ambiguity. So any piece she picks up can go in. So she is blazing through the end here. Sammy Brownlow trying to keep pace, but there's a few more large gaps than Sammy's puzzle compared to Magdalene's. Magdalene down to the last 5 pieces or so, just zooming into the end here, using that shape work to finish this out. Is she going to be able to keep this under the 50-minute line? I sure hope so. It's going to be kind of close. Get those last 3 pieces in, Magdalene. You can do it. Go, go, go,
Congrats,
and there it
Maggie.
is.
Maggie, third place with a time of 51 minutes and 10 seconds. So Inga was 42 minutes, Rachel 44, and Magdalene 51. So I think that's like the most spread out podium we've ever had, potentially, of 9 minutes between first and third place. No, actually, we had some first place people who were like 10 minutes ahead of second place. So, but yeah, interesting. Let's see for
Congratulations.
us.
And Sammy's coming into the last 3 pieces here. Just sink them in. At this point, that fatigue is showing for everybody just a little bit. There it is. Congratulations.
Go, Sammy, fourth place. Yes. It's Sammy's, apart from a pairs competition, that is Sammy's best solo for ranking. Well done, Sammy.
And we know that big piece 500s run a little bit slower on average, and even more so whenever it's a tougher one. And you can see that starts to like expand the times going through. But everybody's doing such a fantastic job right now as we keep cruising in to finish up this 500 piece big piece size puzzle. Um,
And Freya takes fifth place. Congrats,
there it
Freya.
is. Congratulations.
So less than a minute behind Sammy. Okay, so also on screen we have Robert, Karel, Johanna, Jessica. Yeah, I think Tammy is also in the running for top 10.
Oh yeah, for sure.
And Maya, yes. Okay, but just based on least number of pieces, I think Maya JT could do it, or Robert,
It's gonna be really
or
close.
Karel.
I think Maya has fewer big gaps. I think she has more of a Swiss cheese close, and you can see she's grabbing a piece and throwing it in. There's no uncertainty. It's that point of zero ambiguity for her. Anything she picks up can go in, and she is rapidly closing this out. I think there's only one more piece. She's going to hit the button here. There it is. Congratulations, Maya.
Sixth place. Well done, Maya.
Congratulations.
Yes. Oh, looking good. Yeah, so I think I have everyone. Yeah.
Carol not too far behind, and this is where we start seeing what the physicality game is. Can you keep focus after 54 minutes of puzzling? Can you keep the energy going? Can you keep yourself hyped up in order to finish real strong? Johanna and Carol, neck and neck right now. I think Johanna is speeding up just a little bit to get these last couple of pieces, and Carol knows that the adrenaline's hitting, is trying to keep the hands moving. There's a little bit of uncertainty, trying to rotate them in her fingers real quick. They have about 4 or 5 pieces remaining. I think Johanna is right there next to her. Is she going to be able to hit the button?
Yes.
Johanna ran away. There it is. Congratulations, Johanna. Carol not too far behind. Get those last 3 pieces in. There it is. Congratulations to both of you.
Oh, well done. So 2 places left in the top 10. Come on, Robert. Yes, almost there. And yeah, it could be, yeah, after that, there's many people in the same position. You can see that Robert's done a quick shape sort just to, yeah, help him fill in those gaps. But yeah, Jessica, Tammy, Elena, Justina. Let's take a, and I hear that Aaron has started on the mosaics. So yeah, looking really good, everybody. Keep going.
This is some fantastic puzzling, especially here towards the end. After you've been staring at the same pieces for 30 plus minutes, your eyes start going a little blurry. You might forget to blink every so often, and so everything starts looking the same. And so being able to maintain that discernment, that focus at this stage is really, really difficult, and they're doing a great job. I do want to point out Tammy's puzzle hair clips. I think that's brilliant. Puzzle fashion, a thing inside of the puzzle world that's always really exciting. But I think I think Rob is doing a really, really solid job here. He's being very methodical, not flailing, not floundering, just going one piece at a time to sink them in bit by bit, trying to maintain that pace to finish strong and stay in the top 10. Yeah, Victor, this isn't a random cut. It's still a grid cut on this particular brand, and that can make it, especially with mosaics, it can make it a little trickier to keep the discernment going whenever you have that hyper repeating pattern on a grid cut.
Yeah, you can see Aaron's done the outer circle and the inner flower of the mosaic, and yeah, looking really solid there. Justina also doing fantastic. Alona, I see that Alona has pulled out a lot of the pieces. Before she had bits like inside the frame, and she's now taken them out. Yeah, you really have to pay attention to the angle of the purple bits to fill out the circle.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and that I really like Ilona's move there of taking some pieces out. If the box is too full, fix the box a little bit. Rob, coming into the last piece, there it is, sink it. Congratulations. Under an hour. Very, very well done. That's a super exciting time, Rob.
Fantastic.
Oh wow. And we would see Tammy pushing herself to try to finish this out very, very quickly. I think there's maybe 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, maybe about 20, 25 pieces or so remaining for Tammy here coming into the close. Aaron doing a great job. I really like how quickly he got the outline of those of that darker part of the arc and those vertical lines in, and then using the shading to finish it up. Very, very smart puzzling. Justina right there with him. I think Justina is slightly ahead. You can see that Justina did more of using the side, the background for that repeating pattern to get those bigger parts of the line in before moving into the into worrying about the arc or those purple lines. Really, really cool if you can see the colors well. And she is doing a great job coming into the close here.
Yeah, so it looks like Tammy could be in the running for 10th. I don't see anyone near her. I mean, everybody else has a few more. Well, it's between Tammy and Jessica in terms of pieces left. So go. Last 10, the top 10 spot is available. But yeah, we have in the next wave, there's going to be a lot of people similar because we have a fair number of people who've finished the bottom half and are working their way on the mosaics. Yeah, I've also just added Catherine and Charlene to the screen. They're doing a really great job on there.
Oh, come on, Tammy, you can do it. Keep on pushing. This is where it's really difficult because all of that mosaic looks so similar after you've been staring at it for 20 minutes. So at this stage, you pick up a piece, it has to go in somewhere. There's no more ambiguity. Jessica has some of those bigger gaps, so it's a little more of a pot shot trying to move from one side to the other. Tammy has all of her pieces in the same spot. The last two pieces going in. Get that last. Oh, there's one more piece. It was on top of the puzzle. There's a missing piece somewhere. Where is it going to be? Is it inside the bag? Oh, there's okay. She got it.
But
Congratulations,
there's two
Tammy.
pieces missing at the top. Yeah. Okay.
It might be sitting in the bag. Jess,
No,
finishing up those oranges, bouncing back and forth. This is some fantastic puzzling just across the
Tammy,
board. Everybody's doing a really good job.
Tammy, did you click done? I don't see your message. Did you
Oh,
click?
she's trying to find the thing.
Oh, sorry. There was just a bit of a delay.
Okay.
Okay. I've got you. All right. Congrats. Top 10 to Tammy. Fantastic. Okay. We now have Inga. You can join us for a quick chat about tonight's puzzle.
Hi.
Hello there. Congratulations. Fantastic job. So tell us, what did you think of this beast of a puzzle?
I liked it. I knew it was large piece count, and then it's like a size of 1,000-piece puzzle. But always when I'm doing it, I'm like, oh, this is so big, because I started with the edge, and then I was like, oh, my edge just keeps going. So it's always bigger than I think. But no, I liked it with all these colorful baskets. So like you said, I enjoy those colorful things. So that was fun. And I like that it also has a trickier part. Like it's a nice balanced puzzle in that way. So you have very different sections. But for the mosaic, there were some clues, right? So you had the orange flower in the middle, and then like the arch and the vertical line. So there were quite some differences, and every time you did one of those, you're like, okay, oh, now I see something else, and then you can continue. So that was really fun. Only like the middle part I thought was kind of tricky. There were some distinct sections, like there was like a blue glare on some of them and a brownish glare on the others, but then the other parts in the middle were quite difficult, I think.
Yeah, whenever I was curious whenever you were going through, um, there's always this debate about, do you do the hard part of the puzzle first or the easy part of the puzzle first, that kind of thing. Why did you choose the process that you did?
Honestly, usually I like to try and start, if it has these distinct sections, I like to start with the top half so that I can just work away. Like I always have the puzzle right in front of me, right? I don't need to flip it around or whatever, but I think the colors were just too distinct to, they were shouting at me. I always say like the pieces are talking to me, right? So I couldn't ignore the colorful baskets.
No, it's so interesting what your eye kind of like latches onto and then fixates on a little bit. Was there any part of this that as you were doing it you kind of thought, maybe I'm doing this in a weird way and I should try something else, or was this a very like cut and paste, this is the process that it's going to work for me?
Yeah, I think it was, I just did something I saw and then looked again like, oh, what stands out to me now? And then I did that. I think it was pretty smooth, so, except that I got to the middle part of the circle. For a second, I was just like, okay, I don't see any difference now. But other than that, I think it was fine. It was pretty structured. I started with the border, then I did all the colorful baskets, then the brown basket, and some pick and placing in between, because I'm always like that. Oh, this is this basket over there. And I sorted out some of the arch already because they stood out. And I was like, oh, then at least I already have them ready when I will start working on it. For the arch, I didn't immediately realize that it was like two blue lines next to each other. So I had some of the parts, I was like, why is it not fitting? It should already be there. It was only like the first few, and I was like, oh, it's two of them. So
It's always fun whenever that like obvious, not obvious thing jumps out at you at the last minute.
Yeah. So no,
Um,
I enjoyed it.
how do you, for those of us mere mortals that struggle with a lot of the parts of an image that are very the same, and I'm not talking about the mosaic because there's lots of pattern tricks you can use in that, but for like the bowls slash bags slash whatever whatever we're gonna call them, that are very very similarly orange all over the place. How do you approach that kind of speed bump in a puzzle?
I think there was a little bit of a color difference. So some of them are a bit of a lighter brown. Um, and there's a little bit of a orientation, right? The ones on the right are really stacked straight on top of each other, but then ones on the left are just a little bit tilted. And then you had the one in the middle that was like very light brown, and then the alternating light dark brown, I don't know, back poof kind of thing in the middle. That one, all of the pieces, all of them, most of them had like a part of the dark brown on the piece as well, so you could tell it was one of those. And I always, I don't know, I work from, usually I like to work from outside in, right? Because the outside pieces usually have some small clues from where they go. Like the dark shadows on the left side, they have like, you can see there's something else, right? It's not just the backs. So, but it is a trickier part than the colorful ones, obviously.
Gotcha. Well, our theme for today is about what you would want to see as like leagues, or how you might want to set one of those up. Any sort of thoughts or ideas that you have about that?
I didn't really read the question beforehand this time, so I didn't have time to think about it. I was just thinking when you were discussing it at the beginning, I like I would think it would be interesting, but I don't know if that's really in leagues, but to sort of, based on your puzzle type, to divide people, but also maybe just stats wise. Like, I would be very interesting to see how the puzzlers do in like a landscape league or a busy puzzle league, like that. It would be sort of different categories, but also that I would just be interested in the stats, right? Maybe some people who don't know what they're very good at, for example, and then all of a sudden you can see, oh, I'm much better at landscapes than I thought, for example, because you do relatively well or something. That was the only thing I was thinking about, but I don't know if that's really about leagues. But
Well, I think that's a really interesting take on things, because how many people have said this isn't my type of puzzle, and other people are like, no, this is exactly my flavor, right? Like, I think it would be interesting to see how people do both outside of their favored style and inside their favored style.
yeah, exactly. And then I think what we also sometimes discuss is that, like, for example, at Worlds or many other competitions as well, you have your preliminaries are relatively easy puzzles, and then all of a sudden the final is a much more difficult puzzle. And you're actually testing different skills. Easy puzzles have a different skill than a hard puzzle. So I think those kind of distinctions might also be interesting for a league, that you specifically choose whether you're going for like an easy puzzle, so it's really about hand movement, or like a more difficult puzzle where it's more about shape work, or those are also very different kind of different kind of skills that you're testing.
Yeah, I think that's for a lot of puzzle organizers, that's one of the difficult things to figure out, is how much and how many different skill sets do you want to test people on at the same time, right? Like Victor was even in the chat saying that sometimes the just fast ones aren't as fun because there's not as many different skills. Whereas something like this, there's a lot of different tools that you can use in, and it becomes a thing of what style, what sort of things do you want to play around with. So I think that's a really cool idea to kind of group it based on image, almost image style in different ways. That would be really fun.
But
Yeah,
then is
because
it, Oh, sorry. I was just gonna say, but then doesn't that give it away? Well, at least for a mystery puzzle, at least for me, if I was doing the competitions, I wouldn't want to say today's a landscape competition. And I don't know, is that giving away too much information?
Yeah, no, I I get that. I think it's just for me, it's just like at competition. Sometimes it's weird that preliminaries test different skills than finals. Like for example, the pairs competition, you're doing 500-piece puzzles in preliminaries and then 1,000-piece in finals. That's a completely different skill. Like it's so different. So I just feel like maybe it should at least be consistent. So that will be a league, right? You could go for 1,000-piece
Yeah.
or the 500-piece pairs, for example, instead of trying to do everything in one competition.
Mm.
But
Yeah, but
it's just pushing testing different skills. So if you're very good at 500-piece pairs, you might do very bad in the final, even though you could have won maybe if it was just a 500-piece competition.
Yeah. I wonder, one of the things that I think about sometimes is how much information should the puzzlers have before starting about the image, right? Like, um, if people didn't know this was a large piece format 500 whenever they signed up, would they still have enjoyed it and maybe scared themselves away from it because they're nervous about it, as opposed to giving it a fair
Mhm.
shake? Or is it the case that you get a more holistic view of people that are into that style, and that becomes like the league thing? So I'd be curious about if it's better to be surprised or not whenever it comes to those kinds of measurements.
Yeah, I think you also have sometimes a competition where you know beforehand what the puzzle will be, right? So then it's also you're also testing a different skill, but that's just how fast can you get at a puzzle if you can practice and know it beforehand. So that's also, I think, super interesting. You can
Yeah,
do so many different things, so many different types of competitions. But indeed, here I guess with telling that it's a larger piece count, people can practice those, and indeed other people might get scared away. I know Ella was like, I don't like larger piece counts. Like no, she hates them. It's not just a dislike. So yeah,
yeah, but I do appreciate how you say it's different skills. Like with a fast puzzle, it's more about like how fast can you, like your dexterity, like how fast can you actually move, and like your eyes are, this whole kind of yeah, this processing, this really quick processing that's going on in your mind. Whereas with puzzles that are harder, it's more, or like with less color on it, you're more focused on shape recognition, and yeah, maybe like endurance or concentration more come into play, as opposed to
yeah,
just raw, like, oh, I'm just like got mosquito hands.
yeah.
yeah, and then like a competition like today, it's also much more about space management than some other competitions, right? And that's also a different